India's IT sector employs roughly 3 million people, a tiny fraction of the billion-plus population. Still, it accounts for almost a quarter of the workforce. Protecting and encouraging those jobs is essential, but the skill set is high, the pay even higher, and that wage gap between IT workers in the US and India narrowing with every year. Add to that lackluster global growth. That's led to a decline in outsourcing to India and greater automation threatening jobs. So how are startups coping?
The local rival to WhatsApp, Hike, is the latest to join India's growing list of unicorns. After a fresh round of funding, the messaging app is now valued at more than $1 billion. I caught up with CEO Kevin Bharti-Mittal to talk about how the company plans to move beyond its current base of 100 million users and the challenges India faces as it aspires to become the next startup nation.
The fund of funds that the government set up, the whole Make in India and Digital India program is fantastic. And more importantly, you not only see action on the ground happening, but the sentiment is very positive. That's very, very important. This country has become startup crazy, which is fantastic. And I think a lot of people forget that this is the first true big internet wave in this country.
I know Hike is focused on India right now, but that really is a fragmented market. How do you go about connecting 1 billion users?
There are very broadly speaking, three kinds of internet users in the country. The folks that are the pro users, they use 1 GB plus of internet, they're connected every day. Then you have sort of the semi-pro people who are using between, let's say, 100 MB to a GB. And then you have the people who use less than 100 MB or potentially speaking less than 10 MB. You need to tackle these people in different ways. But in the consumer tech space, all disruption happens top-down. And what ends up happening, and we've seen this happen time and time and again in the last couple of decades, where every decade a new technology emerges that's pretty expensive early on, but a company takes that tech and builds a step-jump consumer experience that's much, much better than the existing paradigm. And once people realize the impact internet has on their lives, it's very hard to go back. And you have to think about the market from a 5-7 year perspective if you are to build a big business in this country.
So let's talk about the market, because Hike right now is number 2 to WhatsApp. What's your pitch in competing with WhatsApp users? What does Hike have to offer that WhatsApp cannot?
It's a great question, and the simple answer is, for us to win, WhatsApp does not have to lose. And once you realize that, it becomes very straightforward what Hike is. We launched Hike back in December 2012, where there were barely any smartphones and data plans. So we launched Hike with the idea of Hike to SMS, where you could message people who didn't have smartphones or data plans or Hike installed very seamlessly. And we evolved that idea to Hike Offline, Hike Direct, where today you can pair up to smartphones and use Hike completely without the internet. So that tackles the mass market. However, along the way, as the market grew and you had more 3G penetration, better smartphones, we realized amongst the youth there was a large need for privacy. Still today, in half the Indian households, smartphones are shared. So the youth have no privacy, and we had a huge insight in tier 2 and tier 3 towns a couple of years back, where the kids and the parents use the same smartphone. And so we built something called hidden mode around that to give privacy to people, to young kids, where they can chat with their friends and sort of be themselves on a messaging application. Third was local content. And it became very clear to us, and it's so apparent today, that people want to express in their local languages. The problem is it's hard to do that in local keyboards because there's no QWERTY standard like in English for a Hindi keyboard. There are 6 different versions, and if people are using one app versus the other, there are different keyboards in all these apps. And we really believe India is what we call a sight and sound market. Given the nature of the market, given its mobile first, given the literacy rates, people are far more comfortable visually communicating and also through audio. So we launched stickers, which is a very visual form of communication that trumps the need for a local keyboard, which is why people exchange over 300 million stickers per day on the platform. And the last point is, we really believe that messaging